Ethan Cole drove his old city bus along the same route he had taken for nearly 10 years. Every morning he woke up before sunrise, put on his blue uniform, and walked to the depot where his bus waited. The streets were quiet now, but soon they would fill with people hurrying to work and school. Ethan liked his job. He liked seeing the small moments of life, the tired smiles, the children waving, the old men reading newspapers. On this rainy morning, the clouds were thick and gray. The rain fell in steady drops that made the streets shine. Ethan turned on the wipers and thought about what the city smelled after a night of rain. He stopped at the first bus stop, letting a few passengers climb aboard. Most of them stayed silent, pulling their jackets tight or holding umbrellas. The next stop brought something unusual. A small woman stepped onto the bus. Ethan had seen all sorts of people, but this woman looked different. She was very short, not taller than 4 feet. Her hair was silver and shone slightly even in the dim light of the bus. Her skin was pale, almost glowing in the gray morning. She wore simple clothes that looked like a dress made of soft silver fabric. She held her hands together and smiled gently at Ethan. "Good morning," she said softly. Her voice was calm and clear. "Good morning," Ethan replied, noticing her carefully. "Where would you like to sit?" "Near the back." "Please," she said. Ethan nodded and watched her move down the aisle. She walked slowly, and people started whispering. A man in a black coat shook his head and muttered, "Who even let someone like that ride the bus?" A few teenagers giggled and made jokes about her size. Ethan felt a little anger rise in him. He had seen too many people laughing at those who were different. He cleared his throat. "Hey, leave her alone," he said gently over the bus intercom. "She's a passenger, just like everyone else." The laughter stopped for a moment. The woman paused and looked back at him, smiling again. Ethan felt something strange, a warmth that made him curious about her. She carried nothing except a small silver band around her wrist. It looked like jewelry, but it also seemed unusual, like it was more than just decoration. As the bus moved on, Ethan watched her quietly. Most of the passengers ignored her, but a few kept staring. She did not seem to care. She looked out the window, her silver hair catching the light from passing street lamps. Ethan noticed the way she carried herself. It was small and quiet, but there was a strength about her. At the next stop, a man tried to push past her to get off quickly. She stepped aside, but Ethan noticed her hand brushed the metal pole near the door. In a blink, the pole repaired itself. A small crack that had been running down the metal line vanished. Ethan blinked and looked again. He shook his head. Maybe he had imagined it, but the crack had been there, and now it was gone. The rest of the morning passed in a strange quiet. The woman stayed near the back, occasionally nodding to passengers or giving them a polite smile. Ethan tried to catch her name, but she never spoke it. She just seemed to exist quietly, almost like part of the light in the bus stop. By the afternoon, word had spread. A few passengers whispered about a tiny alien on the bus. Ethan ignored the rumors. He did not care what people thought. He only cared about keeping the ride safe. After the last stop of his shift, Ethan watched her leave. She did not run or hurry. She walked slowly, her head held high. As she passed a broken street light, Ethan noticed something impossible. The light flickered and then lit steadily, as if it had been fixed instantly. The woman did not touch it, not directly, but the light glowed as she passed by. Ethan felt his heart race. He was not sure what he had seen. Was she really an alien? Could she have powers that humans did not understand? He did not speak to anyone about it. He thought it was better to watch and learn quietly. The next day, she returned. Ethan was surprised but curious. She walked onto the bus again, smiling softly. "Good morning," she said. "Thank you for yesterday." "You're welcome," Ethan replied. He noticed that she seemed slightly different in the morning light. Her glow was faint, but it was there. Most passengers ignored her or whispered. Some laughed. But Ethan paid attention to her. He noticed that she seemed polite and gentle, but also cautious, as if she was hiding something important. "Where are you going today?" Ethan asked quietly. "Just around the city," she said. I like to watch humans. I am learning. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. Learning? She sounded almost like a student, but not of school. He wondered what she was really doing in the city. Later in the day, a group of teenagers cornered her at the back of the bus. They laughed at her small size and teased her. Ethan's hands tightened on the wheel. "Hey, that's enough," he said firmly. "Leave her alone." The teenagers looked at him and laughed, then shuffled back to their seats. The woman turned to Ethan and nodded, smiling faintly. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was soft, but Ethan noticed the strength behind it. After work, Ethan walked to the bus depot. The woman had not left him with any clues, but something about her stayed in his mind. He kept thinking about the repaired street light and the metal pole on the bus. That night, as Ethan drove home, he wondered if he had truly seen her fix something with just her touch. He tried to dismiss it as imagination, but he could not. Something about her was different. She was not just small. She had power. The next morning, the rain had stopped. The streets glistened in the sunrise. Ethan drove his bus, keeping an eye out for her, and there she was, waiting at the corner. She smiled when she saw him. "Good morning, Ethan," she said. "May I ride again?" "Of course." He replied. Something inside him told him that this ride would not be like any other. As the bus moved along, he watched her carefully. She was small, gentle, and quiet, but there was an energy around her that made the air feel lighter. Ethan did not know what it was, but he wanted to understand by the end of the week. Ethan learned a few small things about her. She ate very little, preferred quiet places, and watched humans carefully. She never spoke about where she came from or what she was doing here. But Ethan could see that people around her underestimated her because of her size. One afternoon, as the bus rolled down a quiet street, a metal trash can tipped over and blocked the road. Ethan got out to push it away, but before he could reach it, the woman stepped forward. She touched the can lightly, and it slid away as if moved by invisible hands. Ethan's eyes widened. This was no trick. She really had power. "Are you okay?" he asked. She smiled softly. "I'm fine. Do not worry. I only want to help." From that day, Ethan realized he was seeing something extraordinary. Everyone else dismissed her because she was small, but he could see her strength. It was quiet, but real. That evening, Ethan parked the bus and watched as she disappeared into the crowd. He felt a strange mixture of fear and hope. Something had changed in the city, something small but powerful, and he knew he would see her again. Ethan did not know yet how much she would change his life, but he felt certain of one thing: appearances could be deceiving. Small hands could hold great power, and quiet voices could speak louder than words. He walked home slowly, thinking about her glow, her quiet smile, and the way she moved through the world without fear. Ethan wondered what she had come here for, and why no one else seemed to notice. As he reached his apartment, he looked up at the night sky. The stars were faint behind the city lights, but one silver shimmer seemed brighter than the rest. He smiled. Maybe it was her. And in the city, the rain had left the streets wet and shining, just like the first morning he had seen her, and for the first time in years. Ethan felt that the world had a little more mystery, a little more wonder, and a little more hope. The next morning, Ethan Cole woke earlier than usual. He had not slept well, thinking about the small woman with silver hair. Something about her stayed in his mind. He had driven his bus for years, but he had never seen anyone like her. She was quiet, polite, and small, but he could feel that she carried a hidden strength. Ethan got ready and drove his bus along the familiar streets. When he reached the corner where she usually waited, she was already there. She smiled at him softly, as if she had been waiting. "Good morning," she said. "Thank you for letting me ride again." "You're welcome," Ethan said, feeling a strange happiness at seeing her. "May I ask your name?" "My name is Lyra," she said. "I am learning about humans." Ethan nodded. "I'm Ethan. It's good to meet you, Lyra." Most of the passengers whispered and stared at her again. A few laughed. A teenager even called out, "Hey, little alien, hope you don't fly away." Lyra ignored them and walked calmly to the back. Ethan felt a mix of anger and concern. He had seen too many people treat those who were different unfairly. He started the bus and drove on dot as the day went on. Ethan noticed that Lyra had trouble with ordinary things. She did not know how to pay properly at a vending machine, and she seemed confused by the small steps at the bus stops. People laughed at her mistakes. She did not complain or argue. She simply tried again. During one stop, a man accidentally bumped into her, knocking her bag to the floor. The man did not apologize and walked away quickly. Ethan got off and helped her pick up the bag. "Thank you," Lyra said softly. Her eyes looked calm, but Ethan noticed a faint glow around her hands. "It's okay," Ethan said. "People can be careless sometimes. Don't worry about it." Later that day, a group of rowdy teenagers tried to push past her in the aisle. One of them poked fun at her size. "Leave her alone," Ethan said firmly. He stopped the bus, waiting until they moved back to their seats. Lyra gave him a small nod of thanks. Ethan could see that she trusted him. By afternoon, Ethan and Lyra started talking quietly whenever the bus was empty. She spoke in soft, careful words, telling him that she came from a planet called Aurelia, where people lived in harmony with energy that flowed through nature. "We do not fight unless it is necessary," she said. "Strength comes from inner energy, not from muscles. Size does not matter." Ethan listened, fascinated. "That's amazing. I've never heard of a place like that. Are you here to study humans?" "Yes," she said. "I want to learn about kindness and courage. Your people are strong in ways I do not yet understand." Ethan smiled. "You can see more than most people. Most humans would ignore you or even make fun of you." Lyra's silver eyes looked thoughtful. "That is why I am learning slowly. I must understand the hearts of humans, not just their actions." That evening, Ethan drove his bus home, thinking about what she had said. When he reached the depot, he noticed a black van parked near the street. He felt a chill run down his spine. Something about it seemed wrong. The next morning, Lyra appeared at the corner again. Ethan felt a mix of relief and worry. She waved at him, and he waved back. During the ride, Ethan noticed her glancing out the window nervously. Something about her body language had changed. She was alert, careful, as if she knew someone might be following her. "Is something wrong?" Ethan asked quietly. "They are watching me," Lyra said softly. "Some humans want to take me. They want to study my powers." Ethan's heart raced. "Take you? What do you mean?" Lyra looked down. "I escaped from a research lab. They wanted to study my people. I cannot let them hurt anyone. But they will try to find me." Ethan was silent. He had never faced anything like this before. But when he looked at Lyra, he saw no fear in her eyes, only calm determination. Later that day, while driving through a narrow street, Ethan noticed the black van again. It followed the bus closely, turning the same corners and keeping pace. He could feel Lyra tense in her seat. "Do you want me to lose them?" he asked. Lyra shook her head. "No, I can protect us, but we must be careful." Suddenly, the van tried to block the road ahead. Ethan slammed on the brakes. The van stopped in front of the bus, and two men got out, waving strange devices in their hands. "Step out of the bus," one of them shouted. "We need to take her with us." Ethan's hands shook on the steering wheel, but he felt a surge of courage. "No," he said. "She is a passenger. You cannot take her." Lyra rose slowly from her seat. She placed her hand on the metal bar of the bus, and Ethan felt a strange energy fill the air. The bus seemed to tremble slightly. "Ethan, trust me," she said. Then something incredible happened. The bus lifted slightly from the ground, gliding forward with ease. The van men jumped back in shock. The bus moved past them as if the road had disappeared. Ethan's heart raced, and he gripped the steering wheel tightly. When the bus stopped safely a few blocks away, Lyra sat back down. She looked calm, as if nothing unusual had happened. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked. "I'm fine," she said softly. "I do not wish to hurt anyone. I only protect life." Ethan nodded, still shaking from the experience. He realized that Lyra was not just small and quiet. She was strong in ways that no human could match. Her size was misleading. hiding a power that seemed almost impossible. Over the next few days, Ethan and Lyra became closer. They talked quietly during empty bus rides. She told him about her world, Aurelia, where people could sense energy and communicate without words. Ethan shared stories about his life, about the city, about humans' courage and kindness. One afternoon, while stopping at a quiet street, Ethan noticed a small fire starting in a nearby alley. Trash cans had caught fire, and the flames were spreading quickly. Lyra stepped off the bus without hesitation. She raised her hands, and the flames seemed to vanish into the air. The fire was gone in seconds. Ethan could hardly believe his eyes. "You're amazing," he said. Lyra smiled faintly. "I only protect life. I cannot let anyone be hurt." Ethan realized then that her small size had caused people to underestimate her. Everyone laughed at her, ignored her, or thought she was weak. But she was far stronger than anyone imagined. Word of her strange powers began to spread quietly. Some passengers whispered about a tiny woman who moves metal and controls fire. Others laughed, thinking it was a joke. But Ethan knew the truth. He had seen it with his own eyes. Lyra remained humble. She did not boast about her abilities. She only smiled, learning about humans and their lives. She said that true strength was not in showing power, but in using it wisely and kindly. One night, Ethan walked her home after his shift. They moved quietly through the wet streets, the rain having stopped. He asked her why she had come to the city. "I wanted to see humans up close," Lyra said softly, "to understand their hearts. Many think I am small and weak, but strength comes from courage and kindness." Ethan smiled. "You've shown me that already. Most people would not even notice what you can do. But I see it. I believe in you." Lyra looked at him with her silver eyes. "Thank you, Ethan. Your kindness gives me hope. Not all humans are selfish or cruel." From that night on, Ethan felt a new responsibility. He had met someone extraordinary, someone small, quiet, and kind who had incredible power. He knew he had to protect her, not just from the people who wanted to study her, but also from a world that often misunderstood strength. Days passed, and the black van no longer appeared. But Ethan and Lyra both knew it was only a matter of time before someone else would come. They prepared quietly, learning to trust each other. Ethan realized that the city, with all its noise and traffic, had become a stage for something bigger than himself. He had met someone who could change how humans thought about strength and courage. And he knew that seeing her grow, seeing her show her power while remaining kind, would be the greatest lesson of his life. And so, the small alien woman, dismissed by everyone for her size, began to find her place in a human world, with Ethan, the simple bus driver, watching and learning that true strength is not measured by height or muscle, but by heart, mind, and courage. The next morning, Ethan Cole woke to the sound of birds outside his small apartment. He thought about Lyra. Even after days of riding the bus with her, he still did not know much about her world. She had shared pieces of her story, but much remained a mystery. He got ready and drove his bus along the familiar route, wondering if today would bring anything unusual. At the corner where she always waited, Lyra was already standing. The sunlight touched her silver hair, making it shine. She smiled at him. "Good morning, Ethan," she said softly. "Good morning, Lyra," he replied. "How are you today?" "I am well," she said, "but I need to be careful. They are still looking for me." Ethan nodded. "I will help you however I can." Lyra's silver eyes seemed to glow faintly in the sunlight. "Thank you," she said. "You are kind. It is rare to find humans like you." Most passengers ignored her, but some whispered. One man muttered, "There she is again, tiny little alien." The comment made Ethan frown. People judged her only by her size. They did not see her strength. As the bus moved through the city streets, Ethan and Lyra talked quietly whenever there was a pause. She told him more about Aurelia, her home planet. "Our people live with energy," she said. "It flows through everything. It can heal, protect, and move objects, but we do not use it to harm others. Strength is in balance, not in fighting. Ethan listened with fascination. So your size. Does it matter because your power comes from inside you? Yes, she said. Strength is not measured by appearance. It is measured by what you do with it. I am small, but I can protect life. As they talked, Ethan noticed that she seemed tense. She kept glancing toward the rear windows of the bus. What is it? He asked quietly. They are close, Lyra said. Humans from the lab. They want to capture me. I can feel them. Ethan felt a surge of fear. He had not imagined the black van following them. It was real. And they were dangerous. We need to be careful, he said. At the next stop, a man wearing dark clothes stepped onto the bus. He looked around suspiciously, his eyes scanning each passenger. Lyra's body stiffened, but she did not panic. She simply watched. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tightly. Do not worry, Lyra said softly. I can protect us if needed. The man moved to the middle of the bus and started asking passengers questions. His voice was loud and demanding. Ethan kept his eyes on him, ready to act out. Suddenly, the man tried to grab Lyra's wrist, aiming for the silver band she always wore. Ethan shouted, "Stop," and moved quickly, blocking the man. But before he could do more, Lyra raised her hand. The air shimmered around her, and the man was pushed gently backward. He stumbled, confused, but was not hurt. Ethan's heart raced. Are you okay? He asked. I'm fine, she said softly. I cannot let them hurt anyone. I only protect life. The man looked around in shock and left the bus quickly. Ethan realized that Lyra's power was more than physical strength. It was control over energy, precise and careful. After that incident, Ethan drove them out of the city. They needed a safe place to hide. He knew a small cabin near the forest, where no one would easily find them. When they arrived, Lyra stepped out of the bus. The sunlight caught her silver hair again, making it glow. Ethan watched her carefully. She moved with quiet grace, as if she belonged to another world. This will be safe for now, Ethan said. You can rest here. Lyra nodded. Thank you, Ethan. Your kindness gives me courage. They entered the cabin. It was small but comfortable. Ethan lit a fire while Lyra looked out the window at the forest. I have used too much energy today, she said quietly. I need rest, Ethan nodded. I will stay nearby. No one will find you here. That night, Ethan could not sleep. He thought about Lyra and her powers. She was small, but her energy was incredible. She had stopped danger without hurting anyone. She had controlled the bus, pushed a man, and saved herself. And she did it all calmly. The next morning, Ethan woke to the sound of movement outside. He looked out and saw the black van approaching the cabin slowly. He knew it was them. The humans from the lab had found her. Lyra, he said quietly. They're coming. We have to act fast. Lyra nodded. I will not allow them to hurt anyone. She stepped forward, placing her hands on the earth. The ground seemed to hum beneath her touch. Ethan watched in awe as energy flowed around her. The trees around the cabin swayed slightly, as if alive. The black van stopped near the cabin. Two men stepped out with devices in their hands. Ethan felt fear rise in him. He had never faced anything like this, but he also felt trust in Lyra. Step away, she said softly. Her voice was calm, but it carried power. The men laughed. You're small. What can you do? Without a word, Lyra raised her hands. Energy surged. Invisible but strong. The devices in the men's hands moved out of their grip and clattered to the ground. The men stumbled backward, shocked and afraid. Ethan could hardly breathe. He had never seen power like this. Lyra's small hands had controlled objects far heavier than herself. Without touching them directly, do not come closer, she said firmly. The men hesitated. They looked at each other, then back at Lyra, slowly. They stepped back toward the van. Ethan realized that they understood they could not match her. When the van left, Ethan and Lyra looked at each other quietly. She seemed calm, but he knew she had used much energy. You are incredible, he said. I have never seen anything like that. I only protect life. She said softly, I do not want to fight. I only stop harm. Ethan nodded. He realized that her small size had caused people to underestimate her. But she was stronger than anyone imagined. Her power came from inside, not from muscles or size. Over the next few days, they stayed in the cabin, preparing for anyone else who might come. Ethan brought food and supplies, while Lyra rested and taught him small things about energy. He was fascinated. She showed him how energy could be used to move small objects or protect life without hurting anyone. Ethan tried carefully, but he could only feel a faint hum of the power she commanded. "You have a special gift," he said. "I can feel it even when you do not use it." Lyra smiled softly. "You are kind, Ethan. That is why you can sense it. Only those with a strong heart can feel energy in this way." Days passed quietly. Ethan and Lyra talked about the city, about humans, and about Aurelia. He learned that her people valued harmony, courage, and kindness. Strength was not in fighting, but in protecting and helping others. One evening, Ethan asked, "Do you miss your home?" Lyra looked out at the forest. "Yes, but I learned here too. Humans have courage. They can be strong even without power. That is what I need to understand." Ethan nodded. "You're teaching me too. I see that true strength is not in size or muscle. It is in courage, kindness, and knowing what is right." Lyra smiled faintly. "You are learning well, Ethan. That is why I trust you." The next morning, Ethan noticed movement in the forest. A few drones hovered above the trees. He knew they were searching for Lyra. "They have not given up," he said quietly. "No," she said, "but I can handle them. Stay calm." The drones moved closer, scanning the cabin. Lyra stepped outside and raised her hands. A soft glow surrounded her. The drones froze, then fell to the ground, powerless. Ethan could hardly believe it. "You see," she said softly, "I do not fight to destroy. I fight to protect." Ethan realized then that her power was incredible, but it was guided by wisdom. She could have destroyed her enemies, but she only stopped them. That made her strength greater than anyone else's. For the first time, Ethan understood. Lyra was not just an alien. She was a lesson in courage, kindness, and the true meaning of power. He felt proud to know her, and he knew that he would do anything to protect her. From that day, Ethan and Lyra prepared for whatever might come next. They were stronger together, one small, gentle alien with incredible energy, and one human bus driver with courage and a kind heart. Together, they would face anything.